is 9 a.m. All right. We'll try that again. It is 9 a.m. here on Tuesday, April 18th. We'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Looks like we have a pretty robust agenda here today. We'll go right at it with the approval of the minutes from the April 4th meeting. Is there any modifications? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dietrich, second by Commissioner Shane. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved unanimously. Minutes, B item, the County Board Workshop minutes and the Aggregate Tax Committee minutes from 4/11 and 4/7. They can be approved separately or in combination.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you. Couple of clarifications and additions from the 4/11 meeting, and I'll reference, the first one would be page 3 of 8, and it'd be the last paragraph under community dental, where I had asked about if they were able to sustain wages. The foundation for that was, it should be noted that I pointed out that they recently received $150,000 in ARP money for lost wages. So that would be that area. And then page 5 of 8, when we're talking about the library, and the third paragraph down starts out, catch mark, that when I asked about separating from GRRL and having our own, that I also noted that we give over $2 million as part of the 6-county system. And then the second to the last paragraph, I'm a little confused, where it starts out, Vetch said Carl's investigated a lot of options. I didn't think that she was talking about that she had investigated options regarding the library. Didn't you mean that
No,
was
she
other?
was, that was a discussion about capacity. And they were investigating or working on a number of different projects, and there was a discussion about the capacity for them to open up a review of our funding formula to the library and what the cost would be if we didn't belong to the GRLL, or if we would be a standalone, and what the timing would be from projects to even have the ability to do that within the near period of time.
Yeah, so could that clarify that that was about, she's tied up on a lot of other projects, that she didn't already look into this?
Yeah, I think we can just make that correction post-meeting in the minutes to make a reflection, as long as it's kind of under the articulation that we just had here right now.
Okay, and then it looks like the consensus here, and Commissioner Diedrich wasn't here, and she's the representative on the library, but that we were interested in looking at the cost and what that would look like further if we were on our own, but on the recommendation is information only. It looked like there was more of a consensus to do something, but not now, but down the road.
And that was where we were going to bring it back. I think there was informational at this time because we didn't put a definitive timeline on it, but there was a consensus that, and we can make that at the later on as a recommendation, that it was informative, but to review the agreement and to review our participation at a later date.
Okay, it looked like the information only was a little strong from what we had talked about.
Perfect.
But-
And we can modify that in the workshop recommendations.
Okay, then last one is 7 of 8 on compost, where Commissioner Vetch had asked me about other properties that I might have had in mind for the compost, and I had identified that project manager Carl's had identified up to 7 acres of land in the northwest part of our campus, and that that was in response to Commissioner Vetch's question. And Al Wilczek was talking about a parcel of property in the last paragraph about excess topsoil and all that, but I just wanted it noted what that other choice was that you had asked me about.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. What I'll ask you, Commissioner Catchmark, is please work with administration post-meeting to make sure that your quoted language meets your desired comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If nobody has any other additions or changes, I'll make a motion to approve those workshop minutes with those changes from April 11th.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Catchmark for the approval of the County Board Workshop and the Aggregate Tax Committee minutes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shane. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved unanimously. Moving on to the approval of today's agenda, would anyone like to add anything or modify anything from today's agenda? Hearing none, I'll stand for a motion for the approval of today's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dietrich, second by Commissioner Shane. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approval of the minutes or the agenda is unanimous. Today's consent agenda, would anyone like to remove anything from today's consent agenda for further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Catchmark, second by Commissioner Holland for the approval of today's consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are keep counting minutes. The consent agenda approved unanimously. We're a couple minutes behind here, but I believe Greg's in the room somewhere here. He comes up as our first timed agenda item for the adopt a resolution to accept the 2023 CVSO Operational Improvement Grant.
Morning, Commissioners. Yes, so for the new ones, the who have seen this before, so this is an annual grant from the state, across the state to all the CVSO offices. They give us, based on veteran population, a certain amount of money. So what you have in front of you is the grant document that explains what it is, and then the resolution to allow me to sign that grant documents, because it's all electronic signature now. So you're granting me permission to enter that agreement with the state, sign all the documents electronically and get them back to them, and then follow the procedures of the grant till it closes out. Any questions?
Any discussion? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution to accept the 2023 CVSO Operational Improvement Grant.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion by Commissioner Shane, second by Commissioner Dietrich. Any other discussion? Hearing none. This is a resolution. Commissioner Catchmark?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All right, resolution passes unanimously.
Thank you all.
Greg.
Thank you.
All right. 9:07, we're catching up here. And it's Mr. Mattice is stepping in to play Chad and Virgil today.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Yes, Chad and Virgil are unable to attend. They have a conference today. Wanted to put this as a timed item because it is, relatively expensive project. It does not have county funds. What we're asking to do is to approve Agreement 2351 to replace the Franklin Township Bridge on Eastwood Avenue Southeast. It's bridge number 86502, using the Township Bridge Program funding, which comes from the state aid account. There's no county dollars tied to this. The township has a maximum of $10,000 match for engineering work. The county is basically the pass-through for the funding, since the township is not eligible to receive state aid funds directly. So there are no county funds being used. The county staff time does include time to make state aid payments. So township has their engineer they contract with. They do their pay application, submit it to the county through our RT Vision One Roads. We make the payments, and then we do some consulting with the township just to help review specs and some contract language and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of staff time, but basically we are the fiscal agent for the program.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thanks for standing in. I'll try and make it easy for you. We had a
Please.
little discussion about bridges and ratings and scoring, and this bridge got a score. And it was part of a conversation about why some bridges were pushed ahead of others that looked like the scoring for safety was higher or lower. I didn't see it in here, but maybe it's in the fine print. Do you know how this one scored? Because some of that was some of the background justification as to why some of these bridges were picked when they were picked, right?
That is part of it. I was not given that information.
Okay.
Just that this is an existing timber bridge that's 57 years old and is restricted and posted for heavy loads. And it's a cut across between County Roads, CASA 16 and 17.
They also call it the halfway bridge for a
We do that,
reason.
the Crankyville Bridge.
And there's not a lot of wood structure bridges left, so we're getting those replaced as time and money allows.
And to my recollection, it was back in like, I think October when we had that presentation with the highway department where they gave us the overview of the bridges across the county. And this one was one of the, I believe, top 3 that were on the replacement schedule. So from a scoring perspective.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. So with that, we'll entertain a motion then to approve the request for the agreement for 2351 for the replacement of Franklin Township Bridge on East Avenue.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion by Commissioner Catchmark,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Holland. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agreement approved unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, 9:15, it looks like you're standing right back up here. We're darn close. We'll kind of keep moving forward since. Yeah, I'll let you come back up here. I think we're close enough.
We're 3 minutes ahead. We're getting you back on schedule real quick, like. As a part of the workshop, Mr. Chair, members of the board, last week, it was mentioned that we'd like to set a date and time to tour the Wright County Household Hazardous Waste Facility. And there's been some desire to also tour the Tactical Training Center. Thinking that there may be 3 or more commissioners that would like to attend those tours, we thought we'd come to you to set a time and date. We're looking at either a Tuesday and Thursday of May 2nd, May 4th, May 9th, or May 11th for those times to schedule a tour of those facilities. We'd get some vehicles and we'd go out to Household Hazardous Waste, view the facilities so you can see some of the functional inefficiencies and what we're looking there when we did all those program studies. And then we'd go out to the Tactical Center for a tour so you can, it's a training center. Training center. I
May 2nd looks fine, if we want to do it right away.
I just want to make sure I followed up with administration because I know we had a couple different doodle polls that were out there regarding the, there was a retreat one and there was one with the steering committee from the EDA. I want to make sure that we if we find the consensus on those dates, but I just remember those being dates that were listed on those doodle polls.
Right.
And I do recollect that one of them was like almost unanimous that everybody could attend it. I would hate for us to cross that out for the facility tours
My morning's bad. On the 4th.
on the 4th.
What's the 2nd? What was the 2nd?
The second's a Tuesday. That would be
Yeah,
post-board
I'm free.
meeting.
following the board.
Yeah, that would be good. That works for me. I don't know.
Mr. Kelly, do you know what, did we solidify? Because I don't know if all the invites have been set out on those things. I'm trying to wait for my calendar to catch up with all the dates that have been set.
Retreat would be May 1st in the morning. May 2nd, I believe, is still open. I don't have a final date on the steering committee for the EDA.
All right, so Elizabeth, if you're listening, note yourself that a number of us up here that may have responded that we're available, we are no longer. So May 2nd, then I guess we go post board meeting then.
Yeah.
Sure, how long, what kind of timeframe are we looking
This
at?
is, I guess it's at the decision of the board as to how long it would be there. I would imagine you'd probably be at the training facility for about 45 minutes to an hour tops. And the compost facility probably likewise.
Yep. Yeah, I'd be looking at about an hour each and some travel time, so schedule about maybe 3 hours.
So I would probably recommend that they would be from 11 to 2.
11 to 2.
Yep, that would be my
So we
recommendation.
will post.
Mr. Chair, I believe there's an aggregate committee meeting at 1.
Right. That's yours, right?
That's mine. Son of a gun. Everybody's laughing. Well, we'll do the training. We'll do our best to be back for the aggregate committee at 1.
If we can get going on it, maybe we'll just post it as a
Well,
10:30.
following board meeting,
Yeah.
you know,
Post it as a 10:30 and we get going right away.
And the commissioners that are on aggregate committee are Commissioner Dietrich and Commissioner Ketchmark. Both have been to the household hazardous waste facility, so we do the training center first, and if we're running short on time, we can come back from that.
Okay.
Very good. All right, so I'll stand for a motion to set the facilities tours for the compost and the tactical training center for, the May 2nd at 10:30 a.m.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion by Commissioner Catchmark,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Holland. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Great. Item number 2, Mr. Matthijs.
Item number 2 is, we're asking you to pass a resolution proclaiming April 7th, the week of April 17th, this week, as National Work Zone Awareness Week in Wright County. We got a few members with us today that are out there on the roads every day, working in the traffic. We want to bring awareness to the need and the desire to have safe work zones for not only our workers, but for the drivers as well. There's a resolution in your packet proclaiming this week is National Work Zone Awareness Week. Tomorrow's Orange Day, by the way, if you wear orange to support National Work Zone Awareness Day. I'm gonna have to make a post-it note for that, because I can't remember where my meetings are. So the resolution's in your packet, and we'd like to thank our crews that are working out in the traffic and the right-of-ways and that. Get a little picture with the county board for some promotional items, and then pass a resolution proclaiming National Work Zone Awareness Week.
So can we motivate Administrator Matthijs to dye his hair orange for this? I mean,
The little bit that's left, it won't take much.
I think it would really, give them some support from those in the highway department if you did it. Yeah.
Some,
Mr. Chair, I could volunteer to help with that.
can you do the little fluorescent green frosted tips too?
Green and orange?
There we go. We'll bleach it first so that way it really sets in good.
Good.
Pumpkin.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adopt a resolution proclaiming April 17th through the 21st of 2023 as National Work Zone Awareness Week here in Wright County.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
All right. Motion by
that.
Commissioner Catchmark, second by Commissioner Holland. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So I hope next year Nate puts in that resolution that Administrator Matthijs will dye his hair orange and, yeah.
Perfect, yep, you and I both. So, we'd like to have
Sorry, that was a resolution. So we're going to
resolution.
vote that here.
Aye.
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 So we want to get a quick
Resolution
picture
passes
for our
unanimously.
communications guy with the county board with some of our safety
Perfect.
guys.
Sounds
If
great.
that's okay, real quick. Have our highway guy, come on, Mike, and Cody, and just do a quick one with the board.
Down there?
Are we going down there or are we standing here?
You can stand there, whatever. John, you're in charge.
I guess we're up here, Mike.
Oh, you guys get in order. We'll shift after you guys. You're fine. Can you see us?
All right. Everybody smile.
Come on, Nate, smile. There you go.
Come on, Nate.
Great.
Thank you.
Keep those vests clean, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Our new PP program. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Your last item there would be the approval of a lawful gambling application and adopt a resolution for the Cokato Fire Relief Association.
Yep, and that is for pull tabs and e-pull tabs for the Cook Fire Association, and that's a resolution to pass.
All right, do I have a
I'll make that motion too.
motion by Commissioner Dietrich?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Shane for the approval of the lawful gambling application for the Cokato Fire Relief Association. Resolution, aye.
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 Resolution passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Our 9:28, we're still running quite a bit ahead here. I don't know that would be of our due diligence, this part to jump quite that far ahead. So we're going to move down to items for consideration to approve the committee recommendations, approve and adopt recommendations from the April 11th, 2023 workshop. This would be, to your point, as a Commissioner Catchmark made, as part of the recommendations under the item 3 on the workshop would be informational only, but to review the participation in the funding formula at a later date when staff capacity is available to do so.
And Mr. Chair, thank you. Could we tie it maybe closer to year end? That matches up when Commissioner Dietrich's put in a year's time on the
Yeah, I
library
think we can
board.
make, if you want that noted in there sometime before the end of the year, we can get that accomplished.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve the recommendations then from that meeting with that one clarification.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Catchmark, second by Commissioner Shane. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. The board workshop recommendations are approved unanimously. All right. We are getting closer here since we have almost all timed items left here. We'll move back to the 9:28 item. We're just a couple minutes ahead. Adopt resolution relating to the approval and the amendments to the revenue notes from the Lake Ridge Care Center, Park Terrace, Series 2013. Administrator Keller, you want to speak on it?
Yes, I will kick that off. Board, as you may have read in the attachments, the county issued this conduit financing back in 2013 with Lake Ridge Care Center. There is a specific state statute that allows to do this. What is come forward now is that most entities are switching away from LIBOR, which is a calculation that has traditionally been used for calculation of interest, which has been driven by the London bank system. Because of the size of that, a few other factors, they're now going away to a federal rate. So this has come back to us as a county because we were the entity that basically initiated, borrowed it on their behalf, and then signed an agreement to hand that off to them to make this modification to the agreement. So what's in front of you today is two resolutions to that effect, both one for the Lake Ridge and the other for Park Terrace. Both were issued in 2013. With that, I will stand for questions at this time.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just a quick question on if there's any other impact on these loans that, or bonds that this would affect, this change? Is there any significant impacts that this would have on?
No, in talking with Julie from Kennedy and Graven, there's basically the same amount of interest between those two calculation factors. So there should not be an impact to the borrower. Other than that, terms remain the same. The timeline to 2033 remains the same. No additional reporting or work on the county side than there currently is, and it's currently very minimal. So,
Thank you.
Is there any questions or concerns regarding this? This is largely a procedural item that falls within state statute that allows them to utilize our bonding efforts to save them significant money in their projects for largely senior living type facilities. So with that, I'll entertain a motion if there's not further discussions or questions relating to the approval of the amendment to the revenue note to Lake Ridge Care Center. We have, yes. you
Bob
wanna-
and Julie Eddington is here
Is here.
for further questions.
Perfect.
We took the item a little bit early, so
Yeah.
I just kind of provided them a little bit of background of how it's issued and why LIBOR is going away from. So appreciate Julie being here. If there's any other questions, I would defer the more technical to her. So
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Julie Eddington. I'm with Kennedy and Graven, and I represent the county as their bond counsel. These two particular conduit bonds that the county did previously were not something I did, but it was, I think they were done in 2013. But really, it was the county allowing the two entities to use your sort of tax exemption in order to do the bonds on a tax exempt rate and be able to further their mission as a nonprofit with that extra ability to have a lower interest rate than most people would have. So we're here today because the LIBOR rate, the London Intercontinental Bank rate, is being phased out as of June 30th. So everybody that has debt with a LIBOR rate needs to change that rate by June 30th. And so these two projects needed that. We have created an allonge for each deal, which means it's an amendment to the original note. We will provide the county with a signed bond counsel opinion saying that we believe everything that we've done is accurate and within the law, and that it will not cause the debt to be reissued, which would be something we would have to work with the IRS to handle. So are there any questions about the rates or the allonges that we've done?
And I'm trying to look at it from before back in 2013, the administrative fee that was addressed to it was $1,000. And I'm trying to find out, was that modified at all in this, or is it based on percentage? I guess I'm trying to figure out, when reading through it, I couldn't pull it out of all the documents.
So each municipal entity in Minnesota has the ability to have a fee for a conduit bond. It ranges from, I have clients that have no fee at all, and I have clients that charge a very large fee. So it's completely up to the municipal entity at the time that the bonds are issued.
The biggest cost that you want to basically articulate is the cost for our legal counsel to review this and wanting to make sure that we're made our taxpayers whole. Because you could, in theory, get dozens of these, and in which case you could be incurring a substantial amount of cost to do so. So we're wanting to make sure that that is articulated in the contract so that we are at least made whole.
And I will charge the fees that we did incur directly to the two entities that have the bonds. So we will not charge it to the county at all.
Okay, so your piece is going to be being charged to Lake Ridge, then your review of it.
Right.
So then at that point, you'd be just any time that would be involved from finance and administration, and then the county attorney's office in facilitating it internally. Back in 2013, they put a charge of $1,000 to that fee. They just blanketly wanted to put that out there because you want to set a precedence that in the case that you would start getting large volumes of here, that we have a practice of charging some sort of an administrative fee. I would encourage the board to do so and continue that practice, just on the short side that you never know what the future holds for these, and you want to make sure that we are made whole.
Mr. Chair. Thank you for covering that. And since, as you mentioned, this figure was determined 10 years ago, could we hear from our staff, and I see finance is here in the attorney's office, if we're pretty close with that $1,000, or if it should be adjusted?
Good morning, Board. The only thing that I can tell you in relation to this current action, finance has no additional time that has been incurred or will be incurred because of this change. I cannot speak to what happened in 2013, so I don't know.
Well, I guess pay rates and benefits and everything have changed in 10 years, so we probably should know. The people doing this 10 years ago are making more money now. So if it takes the same amount of time, can somebody calculate how close we are to the $1,000? Or maybe there was a cushion built in 10 years ago, I don't know.
We would need time reporting from other offices that would have been involved in reviewing this. Are you asking for us to re-review the original $1,000 that was set when this occurred back in 2013?
No, I think we're moving forward. This
You're
is to talk
asking
about 2023,
Or what is happening right now in regards to this changeover from LIBOR?
right?
I would need guidance from the other offices in how much time that they would have spent.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ketchmark, our office, time in this matter would be negligible. It would be mainly the time spent at Kenny and Graven by our bond counsel. I guess if she believes $1,000 is sufficient to cover her legal fees, then it is.
So my fees will be a little bit more than $1,000, but not very much. It's probably going to be about $2,000 or $2,500. But again, I'll make sure that when we have been doing these regularly for the last year or so, I've billed all my time to the entity that needs the LIBOR change. So the nonprofit or the the entity that has the conduit bonds. So I would never provide the bill to the county itself.
Right, and Mr. Chair, I get that. I guess we're separating. You're taking yours from different piece of the pie. I'm back to staff time. Attorney says negligible, but then I'm up back to the rest then. And this is kind of like a fee schedule review, and we're 10 years from when it was looked at last, so I'd like to see something.
Well, understand that internal time is probably less than the cost of $1,000. The reason the dollar amount was quantified at that is because not all of these are the same, and you kind of want to have a similar practice. Some might take a little bit more, some might take a little bit less. And ultimately, a lot of the time is just the reviewing of the contract itself by your administrator in your county attorney's office, because they are still going to be responsible to review anything that Kennedy and Graven would recommend. So you're wanting to quantify that time because this isn't something that is, they're statutorily allowed to use us, but it's not something that is necessarily a mandated for the county to do. So you want to make sure that we're made whole with the time that the county staff puts into it. So I would recommend that you would continue with just the same practice of the $1,000.
And Mr. Chair, just for clarification, in 2013, it was an issuance. It initiated this whole process. This is just a change in the language. Obviously, the work is predominantly with Kennedy and Graven. Obviously, I have negligible time into answering questions, communicating with Julie, and getting the board item worked up. That's what I have in it for time and my staff. So again, this is not a new issuance at this time as it was in 2013. And I think that's really what drove the board at the time to set that $1,000 fee.
I guess you could look at it as a reissuance, as like a smaller fee of like 500 and a new issuance as 1,000 if you wanted to, just from there's more work on a new issuance than there would be in that of a reissuance. But nonetheless, you want to have a practice, because if you could, in theory, have a dozen of these, and you could be taking up staff time in a larger volume in time, potentially.
So, Mr. Chair, is that something that maybe we just need to kind of keep our thumbs on as far as watching what takes place? Like right now, it's fine keeping their this particular one, but just something we need to be aware of for future?
This would be something that need to be articulated into the contract, correct?
We don't have a contract necessarily with the conduit borrower. Typically, when these things come up with bond issues, a fee, there's a fee at the very beginning when it's issued, but when there's minor things that come up later on, generally the conduit issuers do not charge for those.
So the reissuance of it wouldn't constitute a new fee, is what you're saying, that the $1,000 up front would be the sufficient side of it. I'm because they're going through 50% of the process kind of on a refinance.
Well, this is not going to be a reissuance. It's just a change in the interest rate from LIBOR, which is going away, to a similar rate.
They're making an internal modification from the banking, yeah.
Because the IRS is requiring everybody to do it.
All right. Well, then, if that's the traditional practice, I just want to make sure that was buttoned up on there. I want to make sure that the common practice and that we're not straying away from making taxpayers whole. Well, then with that, I will stand for a motion to adopt the resolution relating to the approval of revenue notes to Lake Ridge Care Center at Park Terrace.
And Mr. Chair, two resolutions, do you want to take them together or separate? Choice is up to you.
I'll leave that up to the motion maker.
Very well.
I'll make a motion with both of those included to
All
approve.
right. Motion by Commissioner Dietrich,
Second.
second by Commissioner Shane. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Roll call if I could.
Motion passes unanimously.
Roll call vote, please.
Oh, sorry, roll call vote. All right. Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
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 Aye. You think I even highlighted all the resolutions, you think I would have made it?
It's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Treichler, approve the 2023 DNR Annual County Boat and Water Safety Grant.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So as you just stated, 2023 Annual Boat and Water Safety Grant. There's a number of grants in this realm. I know these kind of get confusing, and they do for me as well. So some of them are just strictly for equipment. Some are strictly for premium wages to cover certain grant shifts. This one is kind of an intermediary where it covers a percentage of straight time costs for our 2 full-time staff members in that unit, along with some of the other miscellaneous costs like fuel, maintenance, some miscellaneous equipment, that kind of thing.
Is there any questions? Comments? No? All right, then we'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution for the DNR County Boat and Water Safety Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sain, second by Commissioner Holland. Resolution, Commissioner Dietrich. Resolution. Aye.
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 Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. All right, we're moving on to the item at 9:38. I think we're on time, close enough, I believe. All right, Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this application, or what's before you now, is in relation to an application to rezone property in Marysville Township submitted by Terry Dickinson. The Planning Commission has heard this item, conducted 2 public hearings and a site inspection, and have recommended the findings that you have in front of you. Those findings recommend denial of the request. As such, staff would recommend that the board adopt the notice and order of denial of application for rezoning according to those findings.
All right, so discussion on the item? Is there any discussion on the item of the reviewing of the adopting recommended findings for denial of the application by Terry L. Dickinson of the rezoning of 70.27 acres from ag general to ag res?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just quick to just summarize, this was a consistent decision based on our land use, the entitlement, and the zoning, correct?
Correct.
I'm on the board, and it was recommended the township was against it, and it was a 7-0 vote in favor of denial, which is very rare in the Planning Commission board, so.
I will articulate just a few things here. I appreciate all aspects of this case, that there was a lot of information that was presented. In a lot of cases, that isn't always the case. The applicant illustrated a number of land features that could be argued as unique. The features in many areas across the state, however, they are not unique features in Wright County. I believe this is an issue that should be addressed through land use planning in the future, as an individual rezoning on this case is not warranted. I think there's little room for movement in this case, as there has been deep vetting through the township, the planning and zoning, and the unanimous across the board on all levels for denial on it. But I do agree with the fact that a person could reasonably say that the features on the land are unique, but that would be unique from a statewide perspective, but not from a Wright County. They are not individualized, unique in Wright County.
Mr. Chair, I also did an independent review on the entire file, the matter finding with the Planning Commission, and I think it was rather, it was stated very strongly with the 7-0 vote as well. So I believe the findings presented in the Planning Commission are accurate. And again, back to what you said, as far as statewide versus what is unique in Wright County.
Discussion, any other discussion on the board? I would encourage the applicant to participate and keep things forward as land use plans are potentially open for change in the future, and to use that process to hopefully render them an outcome that would make their land meet their desired use in the future. So I believe that hopefully in the year or two in advance, that there will hopefully be a review of the holistic land use plan, and that might render them a better outcome in the future. With that, is there any motions or discussions?
Mr. Chair, so we want to move to adopt what the planning commission,
They'd be looking for a motion to adopt the recommended findings for denial, would be what the motion would be at this time. Otherwise, you can make a motion different than that. But then at that point, you'd have to make a motions to draft new findings. And at that case, it would come back at a later date to adopt new findings. The findings could be to articulate more information in the denial. It could be a motion to put a draft findings for approval. There could be a variety of different avenues the board could take on this matter.
I'll make a motion to adopt the recommended findings for denial of the application.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Holland,
I'll go ahead and second that.
second by Commissioner Shane. Discussion. I think these are always difficult ones because I think a lot of people want to sympathize with the people wanting to be able to do what they want with their property. But there is also the ability and the need to hold up the integrity of our planning and zoning policies and being able to apply them universally without any prejudice.
Mr. Chair, thank you for saying that. It was a very difficult decision and based on the findings with the planning and zoning, so thank you for saying that.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Or, yeah, this isn't a resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, we do have documents for signature and for distribution.
All right. I'm sorry. Oh, that's your signature. Okay. Yeah. It just said it said my name on there twice. So. All right, it is 9:43 here. We're coming to the end part of the meeting, but I'm going to invite County Attorney Mr. Lutz, Chief Civil Attorney Greg Kreiser up here, and they are going to have a.
Go, sir. Just one more procedural issue, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if the minutes could so reflect that service of the notice and order for denial of application for rezoning its findings were presented to Terry L. Dickinson and her husband, Jim Dickinson, just now.
Thank you, County Attorney Kreiser.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for letting us add this on. It's kind of a bittersweet moment, I think, as you're all aware. John, I always say Anthony because we share a middle name, John Anthony Bowen, was appointed to become a judge. We're lucky that he's staying here in Buffalo, but he's leaving our office. So his last day in our office is Thursday. So I wanted to take the opportunity to, first of all, thank John for his years of service to our office. More than 10 years, right? So more than 10 years in our office. And also to congratulate him on becoming a judge, certainly an esteemed career achievement. Second person that I've lost from my office to the bench, so we're doing something right. Apparently Chip's attorney in Wright County is the pipeline to become the next judicial officer. Just a few things about John. He may have been Governor Walz's first choice to be judge here, but he wasn't our first choice to be an assistant county attorney. We made the mistake of passing over John, and we had an attorney who didn't work out in our office, so we got a second chance with John. And TK was a little bit of a loose cannon sometimes in an HR perspective. So we put John through the ringer in that second interview coming off an attorney that didn't work out. We wanted to make sure we got it right, and we certainly got it right with John. John came to us from Pine County, and one of the great things being county attorney and kind of being a specialist, I'm a criminal prosecutor. That's my background. I just came from live court. It's so nice to get attorneys from a smaller county because they've done everything. They're kind of jack of all trades. And John hit the ground as a utility player. I think he's done basically everything in our office, from child support, commitment, chips, prosecution, and he's just done about every role. And I just want to highlight, well, I'll back up a little bit. I always joke with John that I rescued him from Pine County because he was commuting at least part of the time from Rockford up to Pine County. So you're welcome for rescuing me from Pine County. So I just want to highlight a few of John's achievements for my office, and especially in my tenure as county attorney. I've had a lot of change, most of it good, either from retirement or moving on to a better opportunity like Ms. Carevue in Hennepin County. But when Brian Osselson retired as chief deputy, John took over so many new roles and did so quickly and learned a lot of new areas. He became our tax appeals expert. He became our data practices expert. I had 2 young SHIPS attorneys, and John mentored those attorneys and has been so valuable in that role for my office. We took on additional professional services at the board's request, and I think that's been a benefit for everybody, including my office. And John stepped up in a big way, along with Mr. Kreiser, rendering those professional services and contract review. Just a lot of holes that I'm going to have to fill, with John going to the bench. I just know I can depend on him for anything. It's good to have that go-to guy. I still keep a caseload, and when I was trying the Alina murder case, I had a memo that was due. So I did the hearing. John didn't know anything about the case, but I just basically gave him the file, said memo's due on a certain date. He filed it, I won the case. So just little things like that mean so much to me that I'll have to rely on some other people to do. So I'm just very appreciative of all that John has brought to the office. He's not just a professional colleague, he's a friend of mine, and it will be hard to lose him to the bench because there's an independence once he becomes a judge and neutrality where you lose that ability to be close with other people. So I'll personally miss John not only on a professional level, but a personal level. But I wish Mr. Bowen nothing but the best, and I thank him for his service. So, thanks,
Mr. Chair, members of the board, today I rise on a point of personal privilege to recognize the work John Bowen has provided to Wright County and to congratulate him on his recent appointment as district court judge. As County Attorney Lutz just stated, Governor Walz appointed him to the bench recently. They often say that a person who becomes a judge doesn't become honorable on the day they become a judge, but rather that title is a recognition of everything the person has done in their career. That could not be truer for John. John has been nothing less than honorable in his devotion to Wright County and the practice of law. The practice of law is a profession, and there's no one more professional than John. As County Attorney Lutz stated, John has been working in our office for 10 years and as assistant county attorney. When he started, he was originally assigned to the misdemeanor division, and after an opening came up in the CHIPS division, which I'll add as one of the most difficult assignments in our office, he ran at the chance to help children in Wright County. He became a statewide leader in the area, doing seminars and CLEs at statewide conferences, and he would frequently field calls from other county attorney offices. And I did a review in our office, and it appears that John handled over 508 CHIPS cases in our office in his 6 years working on those cases. That's a lot of children that John has helped. John's devotion to helping children didn't stop there. In addition to having a full caseload, he took on the job of working with sexually exploited youth through Wright County Safe Harbor. And again, the number of lives that John has changed or impacted in Wright County is immeasurable. After 6 years of working in CHIPS, he then became my assistant civil division chief, where he took on even more duties, as County Attorney Lutz stated, in representing this board and all the departments in Wright County. In a supervisory role, he took on litigation matters for the assessor, the highway department, and the sheriff's office, and he became a guiding force on all policy matters that impact every aspect of Wright County. And I think Governor Walz summarized my speech here today as succinctly as possible when he announced John's appointment last week by stating, His impressive track record of public service and commitment to treating all litigants with fairness and respect make him a great judge. And I'll just add, John's track record is truly impressive. Our office is going to miss John's devotion, leadership, and counsel, but we also know that John's work in service to the Wright County is continuing in addition to serving the 10th Judicial District, and I look forward to seeing what John will accomplish next. In closing, I would like to thank John for his professionalism, guidance, and most of all, being a colleague and friend. Congratulations again in your new role as a judge. And John, good luck to you.
Can I say a quick thanks here to everybody?
I would hope you do so.
Okay, yeah, please, thank you. All right. It's really hard to follow that up. But I just want to say that, I've worked in a different county, and I've been involved in a lot of other, in a lot of matters involving the County Attorneys Association. So I've gotten to know other prosecutors and other assistant county attorneys throughout the state. That's been important to me, fostering those relationships with those people. And what I've learned from those relationships is that we're unique here, okay? Like, not every county, do you have people who work so well together, okay? So I came here and I started doing criminal work, and the sheriff's office, just the folks there, were so awesome, so welcoming. 2 years later, I run into the CHIPS work, and Human Services was just so fantastic to me. And luckily, moving into the civil realm a couple of years ago, Human Services has still been a great agency to work with. Everybody's been so welcoming here. The county board, administration, everybody. This has just been a terrific place to work. And I think that we really, when we work here, we don't realize what we have, right? We don't realize it. And so I think that maybe I just want to use this opportunity to thank everybody, because nobody gets anywhere alone. And so this accomplishment, I really attribute it to all the support that I've been given by others. And I just want people to really, truly recognize, like I do, that Wright County is a very unique and is a very welcoming place to work. So I appreciate everybody's, all the work we've done together. And so I just want to thank everybody.
John, I have to agree with the statement that was made about you are becoming a judge. You don't become honorable. You were honorable. I believe you have a unique talent to see through the clouded mess sometimes in our society to find out what is the correctness in the situation at hand. Having gotten to work with you on a lot of different things, I value your perspective on things, and I think this is the best thing for the citizens of Wright County and the citizens of Minnesota. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
All right.
And for Attorney Lutz, it looks like you're running a judge grooming office over there.
Right.
Which is a credit to you. It's been good working with you, John. Don't forget about us. And I'll wait for the TV show Judge John to premiere someday.
It's a reality show.
All right. I mean, yeah. Can I trademark that right now, or I don't know? All right.
He's replacing Judge Judy in
Yeah.
the decade.
Yeah, but I've got better hair. Let's just.
Chairman, I want to say too that you were so welcoming to us. That was really nice. And one of the, very first faces that was smiling at us and asking if we were doing okay. And that was really, that's true testament. And the state is getting a good judge.
Thank
And
you.
we're really going to miss you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to say something also. John, thank you so much. I feel really cheated because you're leaving me, right? Yes, exactly what Jeannie said, very welcoming. I remember you walked by my office, you looked at me, Commissioner, what do you want me to call you? Nadine, okay? So it's always Nadine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Nadine.
Mr. Chair, can I please add?
Yes.
Congratulations. We're really proud of you, and it's been too short. We haven't had a lot of time, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, to finish up the meeting here, we'll start off with the advisory updates. I'll start off with you over there, Administrator Kelly. You have anything, or you want a minute?
That's a tough act to follow, folks. Wish them all the best. Just a few things. Last week, we did have a workshop, but I did want to recognize that last week, April 9 through 15, was Public Safety Communicators Week. We have so many great people working over in Sheriff's Office and law enforcement, and specifically in communications. So wanted to take a moment to be sure to recognize them. Secondly, we did meet last week. Our Health Insurance Review Committee has started. Had a good meeting with staff there and a couple ideas on some things we're looking for. We do have to go out to bid for health insurance next year for potentially some changes in 2025 if we so choose. So started that process. Also yesterday was our first of the new onboarding and training process. I had the pleasure of welcoming 12 new employees at that meeting. Great to welcome them to the county. Some of them have been here a little while, some brand new. But a great group of people and talent coming on, and well as getting them on the right foot with IT security, risk management, and records management. Yesterday, I also had the opportunity to attend the Wright Technical Center open house. It's their 50th year. Really cool to see everything that's going on over there and recognize Brian for all of his work over the years and making it such a great place. So with that, I'll hand over the updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, as was mentioned, and we have meeting minutes here from the first Ag Tax Committee meeting, and there'll be another one that's scheduled coming up soon. I was part of the Extension Office addressed the Farm Family of the Year, but there'll be more of a formal introduction for the board at a future meeting, so I'm not going to spill the beans per se on that today. Delano Safe Schools met, talking about vaping detectors now. There's a detector for a lot of things, so we have one for vaping devices. And then they were talking about Nerf wars too, and if you're not familiar with that, you can look it up, but they're trying to address that on the safety concerns at the schools for when the kids get out and do these Nerf wars. Joint Ditch 15 met yesterday with members from Wright County Drainage Authority as well as Meeker County, and heard the case for a proposed partial abandonment of that joint ditch. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
So, Mr. Chair, last week I went to Hutchinson and for the first time got to meet everybody for the Tri-County Extension Services. It was very interesting. They basically reached out to us and wanted to know agriculturally how and what is affecting our area, how they can help us and assist us in our wants and needs. And it was just interesting, the vast distance between all of us and the different things that we were looking for. So I found that very informational. So we'll find out more with that as we get updated to how they're going to handle that and where they're going to go from that. Also was at the vocational tech yesterday at their open house. Found it very interesting. It had been many years since I've been in that facility. I look forward to that growing and hopefully staying in our community.
Very good. Spent a great deal of time over the last couple of weeks fielding comments on the aggregate ordinance change 23-1. Number of townships, number of meetings. I want to make sure the public is well aware of that public hearing being continued on to this Thursday at 7 p.m. So look forward to the public comments as that moves forward. On another matter that I wanted to follow up on, I believe a number of the county board members may have received correspondence from a number of individuals regarding elections and looking to see if there's interest in the board in making any type of modifications. Rewind back to March 27th, we had a discussion and a presentation that came out of some deep vetting by staff. And to look forward from direction, I would just want to re-solidify the position of the board is the position of the board to continue on with the practice that was presented by staff, or are they interested in having discussions in changing the current practices to something different? Largely because the correspondence people are looking to have some sort of, we want to be able to articulate the board's position on this to them, on what the will of the board is in terms of elections, at least in the short term, if there's interest in making any changes or not. So I want to reaffirm that so that I can communicate back with them holistically from the board on where the direction we intend to go, or if there is any change, or if it's whether it's a wait and see game. I do want to let the board know that House File 3, which is the House versions of elections, has moved forward and has been passed. It is now being put into the Senate. The Senate's version is 1636. Senate File 1636 has language that would tie the county's hands into having to use election equipment if we've used it historically in the past. Since we have adopted that use already, if that language was approved and included into the House version, that would potentially tie our hands. So that is one piece on there. I do know that a lot of the information that they are looking for from this group is they're looking for direction from the board and wanting to take interest in hand counting ballots is one of the top items. Some of the items we don't have a lot of latitude in terms of the voter database in some of that information. That is largely stuff that is managed or almost entirely managed by the state. So we don't have a lot of latitude with that. Under current law, there is some ability for counties to make modifications with that, but wanted to reaffirm the county board's position from the March 27th meeting.
Mr. Chair, just a quick clarification. I thought we were going to get some feedback on the legality of sharing the CVR. Is that what it was, that data? If we could, because other counties have actually shared that.
There's-
We had a legal decision that we were going to get some feedback on, that we could share that. Just the page, not the images, but the page.
So you're looking to share the tape rolls? They were looking for, there's a couple of different asks on that. There is ones that are looking to get a thumb drive imaging of them, of all the actual scanned ballots. That was one of the requests.
Right.
Which was questionable.
Right.
And then there is some that are wanting to be able to get the tape rolls, which is already basically released information. I do believe that, I think it was Fillmore County was one of the ones that was articulated that had released some information. I don't necessarily know what that information is in correlation to the request here. So that would need some deeper digging. But do understand, I think there are some provisions in House File 3 and Senate File 1636 that would make some of that information more defined on what we can and cannot release. Right now, it's kind of in a gray area on what you can and cannot, and you kind of, if you release it, you stand at your own risk for litigation on releasing that information. That being said, it's
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and say something. All the findings and all the information that were brought to us, I really felt good about what was presented to us during that time. I think it would be not in everyone's best interest if we did not just follow the state statute. I think a lot of issues are at a different level legislatively. I feel good with what we are doing here in Wright County. There's a big difference between human error and somebody lawfully doing something illegal or trying to do. We all are human. We do have human errors. In the process of the investigation, I feel like everything had a reason and justification, or it was human error. I really do not believe that anything legally was done intentionally. So I'm going to stand with that was informational. We've done our investigation, and sticking by what we had said that day, that we're not moving forward with any further board action at this time.
So, one thing that I really want to, these emails have said that, you know what, they basically feel that there's no hope in St. Paul. So we will come to the county because we feel like that there's some movement that can be made here. But do understand that any movement we make here is only going to precipitate greater holistic change that will make that impossible, or greater ramifications holistically. The change has to happen in St. Paul, and it has to happen in DC. If you make a change here, if we adopted hand counting ballots here, they will go in at the next session and they will make that illegal. It is a definitive action that will happen down there. There is so much, I hate to say it, dangerous pieces of legislation that are down there that put our election system at risk. And it is at risk in St. Paul, and it is at risk to some degree at the federal level. But making that change here and trying to make these changes here is only going to precipitate them to come back with a stronger vengeance against those moves. I think everybody here agrees that they want a strong and an integrable voting system, but is the machines the issue? Is hand counting going to solve it? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, if you do it and only against the wishes of the state, they're going to just say, well, you got to do it one time and you're never going to get to do it again. That is going to be the outcome. And I think that's something that we have to systematically work on, the change across the state, outside of just Wright County. We're not a sovereign nation. We don't operate in a vacuum. So until we can make that change and get the perspective that we have here in Wright County, outside of Wright County, we're going to continue to find ourselves on the short end of the stick.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
As someone that's been on from the beginning as far as that election review process, and it was Commissioner Vetch and I, we listened to many presentations, had many meetings, both inside the boardroom and out as part of that committee. There's been 8 different commissioners that have sat up here in the last couple of years, and these same type of points have come up. I believe we've addressed the instances that have been specific to Wright County. The concerns about different addresses used that shouldn't have been because they were post offices, and the surveys and different things that our staff answered. And so I think we've addressed what we can, when we can, and the consensus has been to pretty much stay as we're doing from 8 commissioners so far.
Any further comments? I appreciate the direction. I applaud these people's efforts, but I really want to motivate them to have to take it outside of here and work with us to take it outside of this room, because we're on your side with this, and we want to be able to work with you to get the changes that need to happen holistically, and holistically meaning the state of Minnesota and the nation as a whole. So this isn't a win-lose decision. We only get somewhere if we decide to work together. So don't take our position of saying that we don't want to make changes here because we don't feel that the changes here are going to render a long-term solution. So I just want to leave it at that. I just want to let the board know that I was looking to make a statement on behalf of the board holistically on this matter, and I just wanted to have that direction to do so.
Mr. Chair, you definitely have my approval on that. And I think you well stated exactly what we're all feeling, that we're definitely on the same page. We need to work together and bring it to a different level. Been down there several times, know how the system works. If we keep a united front and keep working on that forefront, we can get it done.
Copy that.
All right. Commissioner Holland, updates.
Just same, I went to the Wright Tech Center, the school, I was on that board. It was fun to see the improvements that they've been making, and look forward to see what they have in store if they do get that grant money from the state. And then Wright County Community Action, I went to that meeting and everything's running smoothly. The new director there seems to be really working hard to streamline a lot of things, and yeah, things are going well.
I have a couple of updates as well, and again, that was my first tour of Wright Tech, and what a great asset for our schools and our students. That is really amazing, and there is actually, they had put forth a bonding bill for some repairs, and we wholly support that, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to get some funds for them. I want to say a big thank you for both the Veteran Service Office and the Sheriff's Department with their work on getting grants. Every time those come through, that's just another example of the hard work to support our county and the funding for that. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And then last week, I had the opportunity to attend the Prescription and Illicit Drug Conference. It was a nationwide conference. There were over 3,000 attendees and 99 breakout sessions, and anywhere dealing on, and there was 5 of us from the Opiate Settlement Advisory Committee, and it addressed different tracks of prevention, treatment, recovery, harm reduction, public safety with the courts and enforcement, data tracking, and how that is used to identify prescription drug abuse and illicit, so that, like overdoses, and then where and who is prescribing the level 2 through level 5 drugs, just to keep track. That's kind of how they identified and followed like the pill mills back with the opioid abuse that came out. And this settlement money is obviously from Purdue Pharma, and then there'll be additional funds that the county is receiving through the state, I think for Johnson & Johnson as well. So there will be money coming to the county to it, and we're looking, the RFP actually goes out today to apply for this grant money. It's focused this round on treatment and recovery, so we encourage programs in the county, schools, cities, whatever way that you may be able to address what's working already for you or something new, to utilize this money to serve the people of Wright County with addiction into recovery. Also, so those are the 2 focuses this grant round. We'll see how this turns out and then move forward in the future. So I just wanted to say thank you for HHS, the staff that went with. It was really a great learning experience. 5 full days of just knowledge-based experience, from law enforcement, like I said, to treatment, recovery, and even getting these, work back into the workforce in recovery for success in the next step, housing, those kind of things that if you start kind of at the root and move forward, we can get a lot of people on the right track. So I'm looking forward to seeing the results as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else to come before the board today? If not, we will adjourn the board at 10:14.